Hey guys, it's Adam, and today I'm going to be bringing you a review of The Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Unlimited. This game recently came out on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but was previously a subscription-based PC exclusive. Although the console and PC version of the game are similar in most aspects, the PC version is still slightly ahead in terms of updates. This is important to bear in mind as this review is mainly going to be focusing on the console versions. A couple of things to note before we do start: please don't expect this to be Skyrim 2.0. It's not. It's much more akin to MMOs than the RPG style of game that we saw in the 5th installment of the Elder Scrolls franchise. Secondly, this is an MMO and these typically have a 10-year plan. Because of this, the information that I speak about in this review may grow out of date or be void depending on what updates and fixes come out. Please take a look at the date this video was posted before commenting some hate about something that's no longer in the game. So, without further ado, let's begin. One of the noticeable things for me when I first booted up the Elder Scrolls Online on the console was the slight downgrade in graphics from the PC version. The graphics are in no means bad, but perhaps some textures were slightly lacking in the detail I was expecting from a next-gen game. It looks similar to Skyrim in terms of detail and quality, to be completely honest. However, we do have to bear in mind that it is an MMO, and there are a lot of things happening on screen at once, so perhaps a slightly reduced render distance and texture detail is leading to an increased and stable performance, which I'm always happy to get behind. The Elder Scrolls franchise has always managed to capture the essence of the games in their soundtrack, and this game is no different. Always providing the correct amount of tension or serenity, the soundtrack complements whatever's appearing on your screen perfectly, leading to a well-rounded and immersive experience. The Xbox and PlayStation versions of the game both revolve around the use of a controller. This differs to the keyboard and mouse setup of the PC. This caused a few problems for me through my time in Tamriel, specifically through the need to use multiple buttons to perform relatively simple commands, such as crowd control breaking or interrupting an enemy channeling a spell, which is something that happens incredibly often. Also, I think that the PlayStation players may have a slight ability to button map, but for the Xbox players there was no button mapping at all. This was particularly annoying in the case of the weapon swap button, which is found on the left D-pad. Later in the game I was swapping my weapon multiple times in each fight, and taking my hands off the thumbsticks was kind of annoying, but hey, you may not find this to be a problem. Something that will be a problem, however, is the user interface. Going for a Skyrim-esque UI meant that some of the features such as mail are found deep within the menu and take far longer than they should to discover. The chat within the world is done mainly through the area voice chat, guilds or groups. This may not sound like too much of a problem at first, but besides the annoyance of hearing 200 people blaring out Justin Bieber songs when you enter the crafting area, the actual ability to find groups and guilds is very poor, diminishing the idea that teamwork is vital to success. There is a group finder to help with this, once again found deep within the menus, but you can expect a 1 hour plus queue to find a group to do the one dungeon that you're looking for. The Elder Scrolls Online is an absolutely huge game, with hundreds of hours of content available. The game is broken up into 3 alliances though, and you get to choose either the Daggerfall Covenant, the Ebonheart Pact or the Aldmeri Dominion, and this is the alliance that you stick with all the way from 1 to 50, so really do think about the one you want to join. Each alliance has 5 zones of linear progression, with enemies scaling from levels 1 to 50, typical of an MMO. There are hundreds of quests to complete within this alliance following a main story and many side quests. Although there is a semi-linear progression through the different areas of the alliance in terms of the level suitability, there is complete freedom in where you want to go. So if you do want to head to the last area and be demolished by a level 43 werewolf, then please feel free. This freedom is amazing however, and allows you to explore the world at your own pace and look at all the things you want to within a certain area. I'm a bit of a completionist and had to uncover basically everything before I'd move on, but some of you may wish to just zip through the main quests and move on to the next area, and this game allows you to do that. There is also a main story regardless of which alliance you choose, and this runs alongside the alliance quests that you're doing. You receive a new one of these quests every 5 levels, and they help to advance the main plot of the entire game. There is some more information about quests, which I'll be speaking about in the veterans section of this video later on. However, if you don't want a possible spoiler, then don't watch it. Don't say I didn't warn you. Along the way through the questing and exploration, you'll come across many dungeons and delves, crafting stations, villages, each with a unique story to tell. The dungeons in ESO are separated into different types. You have solo dungeons that scale to your level, public dungeons where everybody in your alliance can go to, and then group dungeons which allow a group of up to 4 to enter and will scale to the group leader. These different dungeons allow for a good amount of variety and almost always have a storyline or quest within them that helps to add to the feeling of great exploration. Whilst you're exploring, keep your eye out for many books that are glowing blue. These lore books teach you about the history of Tamriel and how it got into the state of war that it's currently in. Also, ESO has a collectible called Sky Shards. Sky shards are scattered throughout the world in caves, houses, rivers, crypts, villages, you name it, and there'll be a sky shard there. These sky shards, when collected, will make up 1/3 of a skill point. Find 3 and you gain a skill point to spend however you wish, so make sure you hunt them down whenever you see a beacon of light go into the sky. Throughout all of your exploration, questing and fishing, yes, fishing, there's a massive list of obtainable achievements. These achievements can unlock titles for your character and dies for your armour, and provide something to aim for those who simply must complete everything. Combat in the Elder Scrolls Online works seamlessly and is extremely fluid, based around the use of a weapon for light and heavy attacks, and your ability bar for special moves that use either stamina or magicka. The use of triggers for blocking and attacking is something that will feel familiar to Skyrim players, and is something that works relatively well. You can't change abilities on your bar or weapons mid-combat. However, at level 15 you unlock weapon swapping. This will allow you to switch between 2 weapons and 2 ability bars mid-combat, which allows for a much more diverse and interesting combat experience. You can use a bow from a distance, for example, pounce forward, swap your bars, and then slay everyone with a pair of dual swords. It's a great system that works really well to provide a fun and interesting combat experience, but it's also something that requires skill to perfect, such as timing a block well enough to stun the attacker, giving you time to land some free hits. The attribute system is one that does follow a traditional Elder Scrolls theme. Broken down into health, magicka and stamina, the player gets to place a single attribute point into one of the 3 when they advance a level. As you can see here, I'm playing a stamina Nightblade. Because of this, I've got no points in magicka, a few in health, and most of mine are going into stamina. This does however bring me on to the different classes within the game. The ones that are available are Dragon Knight, Templar, Sorcerer, my personal favourite, the Nightblade. Each of these comes with 3 unique skill trees. As you can see, I've got Assassination, Shadow and Siphoning. These are completely exclusive to that class that you're playing, and the other classes are not going to be able to use them. However, one of the great things about Elder Scrolls Online is that weapons are completely free to use by anyone. I've got 2-handed, 1-handed shield, dual-wield bow, destruction staff and restoration staff here, and these are going to be available to every single character in the game. Now, the skills and skill lines may be slightly confusing and intimidating to someone who's joining the Elder Scrolls Online straight off the back of playing Skyrim. These skill lines are very different, and the way that you level them up differs also. Generally, skills are unlocked through the progression into a skill line. For example, Grim Focus, a Nightblade ability in the Assassination tree, won't become available at level 42, so we need to level this skill line up to get there. Passives are also unlocked in the same way. For most skill lines, leveling them is simple. Anytime that you would gain XP, discovering a location, killing a mob, completing a quest, etc., the XP that you gain is divided by the active skills that you have on your ability bar. If you want to level up the 2-handed weapon, place a 2-handed ability on your bar, and then go and get some XP. This is a little confusing, but can actually be really useful, as you don't actually need to be using the abilities or weapons to level them up. For example, you can use a 2-handed, but as long as you have a bow ability on your bar, you'll get some bow XP. Some skill lines are a little more difficult to level up, such as the Fighters and Mages Guild. These have special requirements that you need to do to gain XP. The Mages Guild, for example, you need to find lore books to level it up, but overall, the previous section is the basic process for leveling up the majority of skills. So, the big question is, does it work? Despite a massive lack of information at the start of the game, leaving many players, myself included, very confused, I feel that the system works well, providing the player with freedom and choice to either max out the most XP for one skill, for example the Destruction Staff putting 5 abilities on your bar, or mixing and matching some class, armour and weapon abilities to level up their character evenly. Choice is always good, and when it's in an MMO, that's even more crucial, so having a levelling system that reflects that is vital. Within Tamriel, there's the location of Cyrodiil. Currently a battleground for the 3 alliances, it's here that we see the player versus player aspect of the Elder Scrolls Online. Within the menus, you'll find the campaign section. There are many campaigns with varying lengths of 7 to 30 days, and also excluding or including veterans. Join one of these to be sent into Cyrodiil. However, you must be at least level 10 to start doing this. Each player that enters Cyrodiil will be scaled up to level 49 in terms of stats. However, weapons and armour still differentiate those who really are level 49s, and give them a slight advantage and an incentive for other players to level up more. The PvP in Cyrodiil focuses mainly around the sieging of keeps, theft of other alliances' Elder Scrolls, and for many people, just seeing how many people they can kill before they get killed themselves. Joining a campaign in Cyrodiil will unlock 2 skill trees for everyone, Assault and Support, which provide many new skills to invest your points into, if you've got any lying around. Within Cyrodiil, there are many dungeons, delves, quests, sky shards, lore books, and even slaughterfish to keep you entertained. even if the PvP content isn't really your thing. However, be careful because there might just be someone waiting to kill you as you go off sky shard hunting just outside the enemy alliance base. Performing tasks that aid your alliance will reward you with alliance points. These can be spent on a variety of different things from armor and weapons to siege weapons and soul gems. This high level gear is extremely expensive and is a cause of many hours to be poured into PvP content of the game. PvP is a fun, brilliant addition to the game which is sure to keep many players coming back to Cyrodiil time after time. It's an unpredictable and challenging change from the mainland PvE content and can be somewhere to vent your hatred for those pesky alliances that are troubling you in your questing and punish many noobs for siding with the wrong alliance. It's a feature that is only going to grow, with the Imperial City DLC releasing mid-September, bringing with it a mix of PvE and PvP content right in the heart of Cyrodiil. Veteran ranks are part of the endgame content of the Elder Scrolls Online, so please, if you don't want anything ruined, then please skip ahead to not ruin any of the game. If you're still here, then you'll want to know what's going to be happening after the main story resolves and you hit level 50. When you hit level 50, you'll instantly enter Veteran ranks. A form of leveling up after the 1 to 50 stage. These levels are much longer and go from 1 to 14, soon to be 16 with a future update, and bring with them the addition of champion points. These champion points are a form of sub-skill points which can be invested into the champion skill trees. Broken up into 3 areas, Warrior, Mage and Thief, each with 3 trees in, these points will aid you in giving a plethora of different passives to help tweak and customise your character even more, such as increased damage with certain weapons, increased resistances or increased regen rates. It's a brilliant system that adds a massive amount of customisation to the endgame section of ESO, and means that basically no Veteran 14 or 16 is going to be the same. One of the slight drawbacks of the Veteran levelling is that you will no longer be allowed into non-Veteran PvP campaigns. One of the problems with this is that there is a massive gap between the Veteran 14s and the Veteran 1s, providing a less than satisfying experience to new veterans. However, I believe that in an upcoming patch there's going to be a Veteran scaling section, much like the scaling we see from level 10 to 49, hopefully making the PvP slightly more fair for levelling veterans. After the completion of the main story, a character named Cadwell is going to give you a specific task depending on which alliance you're in. He'll ask you to basically restart, but within a different alliance. This alliance will be anti-clockwise from the one you're currently in, so a Daggerfall Covenant player will go to the Admira Dominion. You'll head back to what a player from that alliance would have started as. What's brilliant about this feature is that you'll still have access to your own alliance, but with the addition of another, increasing your explorative potential and allowing you to see the world from another perspective, but maintain the completed alliance you've done. Even later on, you'll be given the chance to see the third alliance also, allowing you to see the entire world of Tamriel, which believe me, is a lot of content to get through. The Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Unlimited is a superb game that feels right at home on the consoles, despite its belated release. Its plethora of content and exploration, fluid combat and challenging PvP leads to a game that is well-rounded and incredibly interesting and addictive. This game's few flaws may be more annoying to some than others, but the clumsy UI and the lack of button mapping are features that are soon forgotten when you truly become immersed in the world of Tamriel and enjoy all that it has to offer. If you're a fan of the Elder Scrolls or a fan of MMOs, this is an absolute no-brainer, and I'd encourage you to grab this game and dive in. For tips, tricks and reviews of future updates such as the upcoming DLC The Imperial City, please feel free to hit subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Elder Scrolls Online, and if you did, please leave a like as it really helps to get my content out there and to help others who may be undecided if a certain game would be right for them. That's all for now, and I'll see you next time.